Hi everyone, you're watching Jana FX. In this video I'm going to make technical analysis for the coming week. We'll have a look at main pairs, important levels and possible entry points. Of course, I'm warning you guys once again, be careful trading these days. The markets are very volatile and could be unpredictable moves. So if you're not sure, maybe you better stay away or use money management. So be really careful. And as usual, market reacts a lot on the news about COVID-19 and its influence on economy, of course, how bad it's going to be. So pretty much this week is going to be the same, and there will be news for American dollar once again. And you saw this week how it was affected, right? How the markets was affected and how dollar dropped pretty much on against many other pairs. And so of course check economical calendar and news will be for American dollar once again, and for the other pairs too. So we started with euro dollar as usual. Just remember, as we were expecting, like I'm telling you guys about the levels, right, and technical analysis, and where to look for the best areas, and for what type of confirmations and channels I'm looking for. Right? For example, remember last week we had the previous week, right? Euro dollar was falling, and technically I was telling you that we are expecting a correction, but with the circumstances, wherever it was with the COVID-19 and the other news, the expectation could have been that the market could have continued to fall. Remember, I was telling you around this area where we were still here, I was telling you, is it a buy or not to buy? And I said to you guys, so look for confirmation. So I was expecting the possible double bottom creation, remember? So if it will not break this level, give us a double bottom, so you could have looked for the entry point to buy. And that's what I was telling you guys. And also don't forget, if you are going for long buys and if you worry about swaps, so you can check, right? So if the swap is going to be positive or negative to go long or short. And like I said, depends on the size of your account, and you can have a decision. So here's your confirmation. That's what I was telling you. The double bottom created, and you see, guys, exactly my levels where I have it. It's created it and actually had a little bit, let's say, like maybe a little triangle, little wedge, or maybe a little triple bottom, and then you see it's jumped up and then it stopped around the level, right? So this would have been the entry point. So that's pretty much your confirmation of the double bottom, breaking it and pull back, and then it started to continue the way up. So it had a correction. Of course, the correction ended up as a very big, it's more, I would say, like a recovery. Well, pretty much as you understand, you see, technically we were in a downtrend channel and we're expecting a corrective move, right? That's what I'm trying to point you out, guys, so you learn a bit how and what to look at. You see, we are in a downtrend channel, we had a huge drop and we were expecting a possible turnaround, but we were waiting for something, right? This candle didn't give us anything, so that was a double bottom which gave us a good signal. And then fundamentals, right? The news from economical calendar and also political, whatever is happening. So you see, that's what bring the pair all the way up. So what is it coming this week? Obviously, once again, as we had a good recovery, now we're still inside this channel. We had a little breakout, just like we saw here, but previously we had those little breakouts. So basically, technically, again, I would expect now to turn around. I have a now moving down inside the channel, but we will have a mixture of the news this coming week for euro and for American dollar. So check out the calendars. What would I expect? So this is the level, right? So some consolidation around this level. The beginning of the week there will be news for euros. So I presume and then we're going to see how bad coronavirus hit economy. And of course, bad news for euro will bring there's a possibility of all the way wherever down. We don't know where. So I have those levels. Anywhere it can stop. So I can't say where. I can presume. So if it will have a consolidation here around, right? So I probably would looking for placing my orders, sell, and it will go down to wherever, another level, maybe some consolidation. Maybe it will just break down, because you see here when it started to move, it didn't stop anywhere reasonably to have a top up, for example. So wherever it will try to stop maybe. And so of course, when there will be news, it might stop somewhere in the middle. And if there will be that's the first scenario, right? So this is my number one scenario of the bad news for euro. It falls somewhere in the middle, who knows, or maybe even fall all the way down. How bad it is, I don't know how it's going to be. And then of course the news for American dollar. And once again, I don't think there will be good news, but let's say it will be bad news. So of course then euro dollar will go back up again, or maybe it will stop in the middle somewhere and then turn around. So that's my number one scenario. Of course, let's say number two scenario, which is like for me would be kind of less likely, is if what the news, economical news, are not going to be so bad and would be reasonable. So then I would say, well, okay, euro can of course go up maybe to this level, maybe to the next level, or jump up and then just stay between those two levels. So that could be pretty much of the second scenario, and all I'm going to do is once again to look where it's going to have a consolidation in any other of the levels. So that's how I'm going to look at the euro dollar at this point. So like I'm saying here, I wouldn't go for any trades, like no buy or no sell. First of all, I would wait for consolidation, but like I'm saying, it might not sit around this level, it might continue to and slowly move to this one until the actual news will come out and start to consolidate, maybe above it, maybe around this area, slightly below somewhere, who knows, right? So because it still might be influenced by American news, and before European, it might even reach the other level, right, and started to consolidate here, and then news, with the wherever news are going to be, if I would expect a bad news and a euro will be hit, so that it might fall from here and wherever to any other levels where it would decide to stop. So that's quite hard to say. So that's my view on euro dollar. So dollar yen, pretty much you can see it was affected a lot by the bad news for America. So first it didn't want to give up because, like I was telling you, the yen was getting a little bit weak because of the bit better news from China, and when there's a better news from China, yen gets a bit weaker. So, and look how many good entry points actually were here. So first, well, okay, it's been moving quite a lot during Asian session, right? So, and you can see here we actually had, do you remember I was telling you again, it does look like a double top. So that could have been a possible entry point, right? So you could place your sell pending order a little bit lower and here, and then go for it. So then you see it's jumped up, so nothing here, I wouldn't go for anything. So it went back up and had a consolidation again. So you just go on a smaller chart and you look for it. So I'm showing you, that's why guys, I'm telling you, that's how you use my levels. I'm giving you the levels, look for some consolidations, for slowing downs, and for any patterns around those levels. You can see how accurate those levels are. Once again, it didn't go anywhere higher, it didn't stop in the middle, kind of, right? It went up again, had a slowing down here, and that's your level. Down again. Okay, this time I decided not to go all the way. It jumped up back again, had a consolidation, broke. Well, okay, you could have get into this trade, have a little bit of floating, went up again, once again, and broke again. So that's your continuation. You see, then it get in here, look at this. Once again, in what area it went, in my highlighted previous area, it started to have a bit of consolidation. So here's another possible pending order sell from that level, just like usually I do. You see, I'm placing with my levels. So here it is, like I'm doing like this. I'm placing the level here, right, with my EA, and that's it. It already has, you see, set up 20 pips from that level. So that's the entry point, right? From here, 20 pips, here we go. You see, went down again, and then it started to have a bit of consolidation here. For example, I wouldn't go for anything here, possibly. And, well, that's pretty much. For now, the movement is finished, right? So you see, that's how I've used the levels. And exactly the same here. You place the order, put the level, and automatically it will just get you in, get your half positions wherever moves, and then it turns around, you come out with another small profit or break even, depends. The settings can be changed very easily. So you see, that's how I guys do these things. So what is it now for dollar yen? So once again, we are still inside this kind of channel, right? So it went up, jumped back in here, and so now with the news, right? So once again, like yen could be maybe a bit of a recovery for it, possible before the news for American dollar. Okay, so at this moment, of course, in here is nothing. That was the entry point where I told you to look for, right? So here is now you look for around this area. So you see it's pretty much again between one level and another level. So we'll wait for some consolidation. Hopefully it will not make many moves and might just sit in here, right, before it will decide where to move to one or another level. So, or it quite have a bit of correction before. So we have a little bit, you see, shoulder, possibly could be head, maybe another little shoulder, and then who knows, maybe it will be upside down head and shoulders. But if there will be good news for American dollars, a bit better than expected. But you never know, right? So if it's not going to be, it might just sit in here, maybe in here, maybe it will make big moves like this, who knows, right, before the news comes out. But before the news, still it will be a bit of consolidation from somewhere around, and then it will probably make another big move. But be careful, like I'm saying, guys, these days, even not at news, spreads are very wide. They are stretching quite badly. So when there is a move starts to go, you could get into a very bad position. So be really careful, right? Check what the conditions also your broker offers. So you just need to be careful. Like I'm saying, I would just say, if you have very small accounts, you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Okay, don't just go, just sit and wait. I don't trade all the pairs at this moment. I trade only some pairs, right? I'm only jumping in into the possible entry points where I see good ones. For example, Australian dollar, I didn't go for trades at all. Even though I said to you guys that I was expecting Australian dollar to recover, first of all, once again on technically it needed correction, and also better news from China. That's why I expected Australian will get stronger anyway, and of course with bad news for US, it took the advantage. But you once again, you see how it was. It jumped down, jumped up, and jumped down again, jumped up, jumped down, jumped up. You see how much it's jumping. And for example here, even though I felt it will go up, but again with the negative swap, I didn't want to go in the long term. I wanted to have just a day trade, short trade, quick jump in, jump out, and I didn't see opportunity, and I decided to just stay away. And so once again for Australian dollar and American dollar, so like I said, I still see a bit of more recovery because of the better news from China. I don't think there are any news for Australian dollar. I think more news are going the next week, so it quite possibly can just continue recover. I mean, okay, not all the way like jump, maybe like again go down, go up, go down, go up. So maybe in about the same mood, but of course depends what the news is going to bring. So for example, now it's stopped between one and another level, quite distances you can see, and so maybe if it will have a bit of consolidation here, a nice like long good channel, then of course if it's going to look too good to not to get in, so maybe I will look to place my orders for the moments of the news. So, and don't forget, remember when I was telling you the news, I'm also looking for those channels. So when the news, you can see one of my videos, I was telling you how to look for it. You look for the channel and you again placing the orders. If you do it manually, so you see I'm placing with it has to be a channel. So these days it could be any width, but still, even with that width, I'm still placing, you see 20 pips above, 20 pips below, right? So in these days, you need to see when it's going to see how big the spread is. So instead of 20 pips, the distances from those levels could be 30 pips, okay, slightly bigger, to avoid jump up or down with the bigger spread. Okay, so that's, you have to be really careful trading the news these days. So that's it pretty much, guys, with Australian dollar. Like I said, I would expect it still more recovering until the Australian actually news comes out, or who knows, maybe the miracle good news come out from for American dollar, and then Australian dollar can fall. But I think it's slowly, just like it's been moving this week. You see it up, down, up, down, up, down. I would expect it possible will do the same. So preparing for maybe, like I'm saying, first look in the risk area, maybe up, down, 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 next area, or who knows, might go back to here. And well, that's my view on Australian dollar. Dollar Canadian, that's the pair I was shorting all week, like sell, 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 like pretty much all the time, taking a smaller trades, profits, because again I didn't want to go into long. As I have negative swap, and on actually other broker I'm keeping some trades, and from quite high, because I actually have positive swap on sell order. So that's why, for example, you see on the other with my other broker I'm keeping the trade open, and I'm topping up and topping up, so it's doing quite well. So with this broker I don't. I have got into this one of the trades which I'm still in. Pretty much everything else I was selling, taking, using my EA, sell with the EA, taking some profits and closing the positions during the day. I still have, while I was doing more on dollar CAD, I felt more confident because I still have a gap here, and that's what I was telling you. Eventually, one day it's going to close it. Okay, maybe not the same day, not the same week. Maybe it will continue way up first, but I have enough, you see, funds to keep it running. So, for example, if that would be a little bit floating for a while, I still have enough. So that's I'm just trying to warn you guys. Okay, so you see what happened here, and with dollar Canadian, like I was telling you, it did look like we had one top, right? And I was telling you quite possibly it could be a double top, right? So we had it here, and once again, you see, this is where I took a trade. So I didn't go for any like selling straight away anywhere here. But looking for breakout point, right? I gave you that one level, support level, right, using those bottoms, and another level, right, where we actually had the first top quite a creation, and you see the second one created exactly on top, and this was a breakout point. So this is where I started to heavily sell dollar Canadian. So now it's stopped by this level, which I was expecting actually to have a correction. So it had a correction a little bit, and now went down a bit. So now once again, quite possibly it might have a bit of consolidation around this level, and it might go a bit of a correction, right? So it might go in a correction, and of course it might even get, who knows, even return or give a huge triangle. You never know what can be. But with the bad news for dollar, pretty much, of course, I would expect a possible continuation of the drop this week, right? And I think that would be logical, right? So when you look technically, it might continue the way down, right? With what I'm saying, it might be correction and continue and finally close the gap. And this week, more news for dollar, and I think next week there will be more news for Canadian dollar. And of course, so if it will drop and here news for Canadian dollar, that's where dollar might take an advantage of Canadian. And of course, don't forget about looking at the crude oil. Crude oil is still sitting here. Actually, I gave a screenshot on my blog where I pointed out double top and possible creation of a double bottom, and creation of possible triple bottom. You see, that's pretty much, it does look like it, but still there are no changes, and that's why it's stuck between these levels, just as I expected. Quite possible to sit in this channel for a while, but we still have open gap, so one day it will return. But you see, I'm not buying at this moment because of the negative swaps. I don't want to sit and collect these losses on swaps. So you can check it out what the swap you have, guys. So if I would have positive swap, I would probably just buy it and possibly close a bit and wait for it again and buy again, and then buy more here, and then just to see when it's getting closer to the gap. But like I'm saying, depends how big the account is. So right now, negative swaps, I don't want to go for it. So I'll just wait and see what is it going to be next. Any news a little bit more about it. So that's what I'm just trying to say. If you see started oil, if you trade Canadian dollar, oil will start suddenly to pick up. Well, pretty much you understand the Canadian will get stronger. Okay, so that's the point is to look for. So that's the dollar Canadian, guys. So like I'm saying, once again, that's the first point around here, and I still expect the possibility of continuation way down and possibly recovery next week. But you never know. Of course, if it will turn around, once again, I will look at these levels. If it will give anything, something previous, or who knows, might go even higher to the next level. So all the same levels are in place. Euro pound. So once again, euro pound, what we are looking at, it was here, told you, right, we are nowhere. So you see it went up, and this is where it started to have a bit of consolidation. So that's your level, right, a little bit below it. This would be an entry point. Okay, so and then went down. This is a little bit of the channel here, you see, quite in the middle between one level and another level, and went down a bit more. So where this level come from? Of course, it's the previous we had here slowing down, right? So that's, I didn't have it on my picture last week because it was not there, because you see, you have those bottoms. You could have drawn it a little bit lower, like here, so it could be anywhere. And so let's say it was here or here before, and so when it's fall and turned around, so that's it, pretty much could understand. So you have something looking like a triangle, right? So you had one top, one bottom, and then it's created another bottom. So you would have expect the next would be that level to draw and to see where it started to recover. That would have been a stopping point for that move up, you see, for that recovery. So Well, I'm just like trying to point out, guys, again, you see this is a pattern, you had a triangle, and finally it's broken here and slowing down again at next level. You see how it moves between the levels, creating the patterns, and you can use it in your trading if you decide to trade these days. So once again here, it stopped around the level. Now I would look for a possible consolidation. So which way it will go? Look out where pound dollar goes. It goes other way around. If the pound goes, euro pound drops. So if the pound goes up, like euro pound drops. So that pretty much was quite this week following what's pound dollar doing. So, and yeah, so we will look at possible consolidation. You see, it's quite again in the middle between these two levels. It is in a big channel, right? So, and of course, technically looking, you would expect a possible continuation down inside this channel. But first of all, after this big move, you might expect a bit of a correction first, right? And then continuation of the way down. Of course, at the same time, it might have a bit bigger correction, give us a big double top. You never know, but that's the level to look at. Okay, it's the first level, and then you will see where it will go, what it's going to give. Maybe it'll give you, you see on the smaller charts, another pattern or something. That's what I'm trying to point out, guys. That's what you look for during those movements. So now going to gold, and you see that's perfect little triangle, the perfect entry point I gave you, right? Placing the levels, buy order here, sell order here. So all you do, place in the orders. If you have the EA, you should just place your orders, and they already, you put your settings like I do. See 20 pips above, or I have 25 pips above, 20 pips above, 25 pips below, and that's it. It gets you into the trade. So then I was expecting maybe it would have been a bearish flag. I was thinking it will have slowed down here, and as usual, guys, right? So that's what I'm saying. Don't jump into the trade. It might have gone around and could have continued the way up. So it didn't give any consolidation. So for example, I wouldn't go any trades here. But look what it did. Went to the next level and started to consolidate once again here and gave a really nice little triangle, right? Little triangle or pennant. And here's another trade, okay, another trade and another level you can place. You see what you do with the EA I have, some of you just asking, and I'm giving you a little bit more information about. You press level which turns into trend lines, and that's how you place your buy order, right? So you place the level like this, and so what it does, instead of being horizontal, right, like this one, so it could have like break out at any point. So you see, the lower it goes, the better entry point would be. You see, not the higher somewhere else, but just where this level is. So that's how you use it. Okay, so you use it here, and you sell stop, for example, you can place the level here, and that's it. You sort it, so you don't need to worry and wait and place any alarms or anything else if you do it like watching the screen, so you don't have. That's how I do. You see, how useful it is. Like I'm saying, guys, if you would like to have a look, it's not very expensive, it's very low to rent, and all information in the description under this video, but it's very useful. Yeah, that's it. You see, it's been stopped here. Now it's a very wide, so now it's just not giving anything to me at this point, and it's just can go anywhere once again, right? So quite possibly now it might just continue with all of this news, not very good for American dollar. It might just continue all the way up to previous, right? We did hit 1.7 previously, right? We did hit 1.7 quite, you see. So yeah, it quite easily might go and hit that again. So at the same time, well, you never know. It might give, triple top or something. But at this moment, I mean, it's more looking towards continue its way up. So, of course, like I said, if American news are going to bring a really bad news, it's quite easy to achieve. But I mean, a lot of those bad news you see it's already priced in, price for gold, priced it in, the bad news for American dollar. So it's like quite could be, who knows, like I'm saying, like I thought gold will just rocket anyway, but you see it didn't. It still had a fall quite nice, and so like I'm saying, I have no idea what sometimes it's reacting at. So I'm not trading gold too long, but like I'm using my levels and I'm looking at the situation and where it's creating some nice patterns, and that's how I go for it. So at this moment I just want to wait a little bit. I mean, okay, this level could possibly be placing for pending buy, but I would probably just wait for before the news events something, and where it's going to consolidate, and how it's going to consolidate, is it going to give anything, and then to see if I want to place the orders or not. So at this moment just I would wait a bit. So that's the gold and pound dollar. So once again, you see, that's what I was telling you. Wait for creation of whatever, give us a bit something. I gave a double bottom. See, pretty much the same as the euro dollar. So down one bottom, another bottom, went up a bit. You see, broke down back and went up. So this could have been a possible entry point. Okay, so it had a good recovery, and now I would say it might still have a bit of an advantage, continue in the way, and then maybe consolidate, and then with the American news, who knows, right? So it quite easily can continue and take an advantage of it. So of course I would expect a little bit of correction, maybe not big, but a bit of correction. But once again, you see, the situation in UK gets really bad. It's worse and worse every day. So that's why pretty much it could be just a bit of advantage of on dollar, and might quite easily just go all the way down without anything, just based on COVID-19 news. So that's why I need to be really careful. So but I would just say here it stopped anywhere for me, so I just wait for it to continue one, or possibly drop to another level and give a bit of consolidation or anything. You see, we had a nice double bottom here. At this moment there is nothing, and then you just need to wait wherever it's going to decide to stop at any levels. So now we're going to pound yen. And pound yen, just like I was telling you, huge drop, waiting for some correction. Correction happened. Yen get weaker as expected with the Chinese bad news, and this is exactly what happened. Pound against yen also get a bit stronger, and here it was, you see, that's the level, and that was the consolidation, right, where I was telling you just wait for it. I mean, okay, it dropped, like I was telling you, might also give a double bottom, who knows, but it decided to consolidate at exact level. You see, it broke that, went up, then had a bit of consolidation here, went up again, and then it was a bit messy, so I didn't go for trades, so now we will see. It might have a bit of correction once again, because you see it had a good move this week, so now it could be quite technically a little bit of correction and continuation, who knows, right? So might have a bit of correction and then go consolidation and go up, maybe correction to this level and then continue its way up. So we will see what kind of news, but you see, technically it did quite as expectation was, right? So yeah, so now it's just for pound and yen. I think more concentration would be on pound. Again, what is it, how bad it's going to be, how it's affecting. And like I'm saying, some news will be for pound this week. So economical news could be some influence on pound yen also. So but you see, we're back to this area previously. You can see if the previous little gap was closed or not. I think it's actually was not fully closed or something. You see, you can check that out, and then you see it didn't close. Yes, I would say it didn't close it fully, so quite easily can close it this week, right? So it might close it this week, and then to turn around. Okay, so yeah, it quite easily can get up to this and then start to consolidate here, quite possibly until whatever's next comes in the news. So guys, well, that's my view on the pairs this coming week. So like I'm saying, it's quite difficult times and not very easy to trade, but anyway, still possible. As you can see, it's still possible with big risks, but we still have possibilities to continue trading. So don't be stressed. If you're stressed, and don't do it, okay? Just please don't. Be safe, stay safe, stay at home more, and learn more, maybe like practice more on demo accounts or something, or at least like place very, very small lots, guys, like very, very tiny ones, just like really in these times it's easy to just blow your accounts in seconds. I do not touch the small accounts. I would not go for any trades if you have very low accounts. Like, you know, I would say would better to trade if you have like $5,000, this ones, and like I'm saying, go for very, very tiny lots. Okay, just to see more like train yourself this time. But don't try to get into the big trades and try to catch big moves. Like I'm saying, it's very tricky these days. And like I'm saying, you see, I'm getting some trades and I'm floating for a couple of days or something before I come out from the trades. So that's how the quite dangerous trading these days. So that's it for now, guys. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, like. If you're interested in EA, look in the description under this video. I also have my groups, Telegram. It's also Jean FX, and the groups on Facebook. It's Forex with Jean FX. You can join. From time to time, didn't send any screenshots this week. Was kind of a little bit busy doing my other videos. Have actually problems from time to time with internet, and so that's why I can't really do. Sometimes market moves so fast, and I want to like send a screenshot, but and I'm already in a trade. And so it's like, okay, it's no point to sending it anymore because I was out of the internet or something, had a little bit. So that's why if I see something, I try to post it. Okay, guys. So if not, you have my technical analysis, you have the levels, you know what to look for. I'm telling you and showing you every week what to look for, and you know where, and you know what type of how to place the orders, right? So for if you see something, a possibility out there. So happy trading, everyone, and see you next week. Stay home. Okay, bye.